it's Lauren. Welcome back to the Talking Sport YouTube channel. Thank you for all the topic requests sent in by subscribers. Thanks to Fred_14, this week's topic is women's sport does not receive an equitable amount of media coverage compared to men. It's very obvious that women's sport receives much less media coverage in Australia compared to men, despite high success rates and high levels of participation from women. This is unacceptable and just plain wrong. After intense research into the difference between male and female media coverage throughout Australia, some interesting and alarming statistics were uncovered. According to Lumbey, Capel and Greenwood, through the three main media types, that is press, radio and television, female sports coverage is at a disgraceful low in comparison to general sport coverage. Female sports coverage in the press was 9%, radio was 12%, and television had 13% of women's sport coverage. Coverage of women's sport made up 9% of all sports coverage in Australian television news media, compared to the men who occupied 81% of television news reporting. These figures are concerning and need to be much higher. Capel, Greenwood and Lumbey highlighted the fact that horse racing had more airtime on Australian television news than women's sport. Female television news sport reports had the lowest average duration of 51 seconds. That's 30 seconds less than their male counterparts. These staggering statistics have raised a disturbing finding that women's sport coverage is appallingly disproportionate to the men. This is not fair to the women. Please welcome former Matilda and current sport commentator specialising in women's soccer, Jenny Brown, to discuss personal experiences associated with women's sport media coverage. Welcome to Talking Sport, Jenny.
Thank you for having me.
As a member of the media and broadcast industry and former professional female athlete, what are your experiences with the media in regards to women's sport compared to men?
Well, I was a part of Matilda's team who won the 2010 Asian Cup, guaranteeing a place in the 2011 Women's World Cup in Germany. This was the highest accolade for any Australian football team, male or female. However, the Matilda's volume of media coverage during our victorious Asian Cup was only 1/5 of the coverage the Socceroos received in their unsuccessful 2011 Asian Cup. From my current experience as a women's soccer commentator, there is a significant difference in the volume of television news coverage between men and women's soccer. During the 2011 Asia Cup, the Socceroos received 10,418 news reports and 32 total broadcasts, compared to the Matildas, who only received 2,192 news reports and 6 broadcasts in total. This is just unfair and totally unacceptable.
Wow, what eye-opening statistics. Thanks very much for your input and time today, Jenny.
You're welcome.
Based off the facts and insight from Jenny, the feminist theory applies to this topic. According to the feminist theory, sports are gendered activities grounded primarily in the values and experiences of men with power and influence. Researchers of the feminist theory study how sport promotes gender differences, how women are represented in media coverage of sports, strategies used by women to resist or challenge dominant gender ideology, and the gender dimensions of sports and sport organisations. Patterson and Matzel found that networks determine the broadcasting of a certain sport or event by analysing the merits, viewership and interest. So what drives interest in women's sport? Patterson and Matzel also acknowledged 4 drivers of interest in women's sport: knowledge of sports and athletes through athlete profiling, current or previous participation in sport, particularly females, admiration of the athletes and skills they possess, and the quality of women's sport coverage. The media can be instrumental in changing social attitudes towards women's sport. The feminist theory can be used to take social action if we challenge aspects of sports that systematically privilege men over women, expose and transform unwanted forms of sexism and homophobia in sports, use sports as sites to empower women and promote the notion of partnership and competition with others. Something needs to change in regards to the volume of women's sport media coverage. The media need to apply the feminist theory so women can be celebrated and rewarded for their achievements just as equally as the men. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for next week's topic.